Hello, very wonderful soul friends. Welcome back to another Conversations with Kristin, a beautiful part of your day where you explore human consciousness from the inside out. So today I want to talk about daydreaming as a dissociative sign or a trauma response. And then I want to give you guys a healing journey trick that I've come up with that really helps with dissociation, or to reduce dissociation, or to respond to dissociation so that you have power within the experience of it. So start with a little personal story here. Sheepish to say. So last night, yesterday, I had a really big day. It was really successful. I got a lot of work done. I really put my brain to the work grind. I really put my body to the work grind. It was a really big, full day. And so when the evening time came, I was like, oh, I'm just going to relax. And the relaxing turned to drifting. And then the drifting turned to more drifting. And then the drifting of the drifting turned to, I'm just going to lay here and go into a fantasy world in my mind. And I even processed through it, and I'm like, okay, I know this is kind of a dissociative tendency because I'm going to a world that doesn't actually exist, and I'm intentionally being over there instead of here, but maybe it's fine. I'm tired. This is my way of resting. It's no different than if somebody were to read a fantasy book. They're escaping their life. Clearly this is fine. This is all right. Clearly this is fine. And then even a deeper part of justification was I'm manifesting this experience. I don't know if you guys are familiar with manifesting, but kind of the concept is if I picture it and I feel it as if I have it, then it'll come to me. And so I'm manifesting this. I'm manifesting this fantasy world. I'm going to make it real by thinking about it. I'm feeling it like it's here. And so there's all kinds of justifications going on about why this was okay. And so I was like, all right, then it's okay. It feels good. It must be fine, right? But the whole thing is I was leaving my present moment experience. I was leaving the present reality of my life particulars. I was leaving the awareness of my immediate physical body. And in that process, even though it felt good and it seemed harmless, it was actually a really severe dissociative episode. And I couldn't tell that until afterwards. And so in this process, I'm actually processing through it. I'm like, there's no way this is dissociation. I'm in full control. I'm choosing the way that this unfolds within me. It feels good. I'm just hanging out in my imagination. It's totally fine, guys. But I could tell by what I was experiencing afterwards, and even the following day, today, that it was dissociative. And so afterwards, there was all kinds of different responses of I need to completely change my room so it feels like something completely different. And again, that impulse, as innocent and harmless as it seemed, it was something in me trying to escape what was, something in me trying to change who or where I was. And that only happens when we don't feel safe and okay being who and where we are. And when living or healing from chronic traumatic stress or dissociation, it's always connected with a trauma response. And so I was noticing a bit of dysregulation. I'm like, normally I would be getting tired by now, but right now I just feel really wired. And so I could tell there was something going on. And then I'm like, all right, okay, I'm going to chill. I'm recognizing that this isn't my true self, right? Okay, I'm going to, meditate and go to bed. It'll be fine. And I wake up this morning, and it was almost like it continued. The dissociation continued. And I've been feeling a lot more spacey today. My body does not feel as firmly on the ground as it normally does. I ran into walls a couple times. When I was trying to edit my book, I was just having a hard time coming up with the word to put on the paper. And so just these really minor spacey tendencies, it's all because I daydreamed last night. Pretty wild how the human brain works. And so the neuroscience of that, what's happening is last night, instead of finding a way to relax that kept me in the present, I went and laid down somewhere I normally never lay down. I left all the particulars of my present reality and physical life and personal particulars, I went into a completely imagined realm of experience, and I stayed there for maybe an hour. And so in that process, the neural networks that were being activated in my brain had nothing to do with who I was or where I was. And so when I came out of that experience, the neural networks were continuing that alternate route of activation, where the styles in which my brain was operating were separate from who I was and where I was. And so it's all about the way that we're allowing our brain to be activated. And this is why intention and attention are aspects of personal power. Because where we put our focus and how we put our focus there, attention and intention, determines the way that our brain is being activated and subsequently rewired. Because every day our brain is being rewired. Every single day our brain is undergoing all these complex wiring processes, neuroplasticity, magic. And so daydreaming can be, and I'm not necessarily saying it's always, you know, from one perspective it could vary on the particulars or whatever, but from my experience, daydreaming can be a sign of dissociation. And dissociation is always a sign of a traumatic response being unconsciously, indirectly activated. Meaning it's being very activated, but we don't directly know about it. It doesn't feel like that's what's happening. But that's part of the miracle of dissociation, is that it's hiding us from the terror of what is actually going on. And so just want to put this out there. The awareness of it matters. When daydreaming starts to happen, we can notice, oh, a part of me isn't feeling safe to be here right now. A part of me isn't feeling like this life is enough right now. A part of me is feeling like I'm not enough right now. A part of me is trying to go somewhere else with someone else to do something else because right here, right now doesn't seem okay. And so daydreaming is a clue of consciousness. And recognizing that as such can help us reclaim our power. Because in those moments of justification that even I was experiencing just last night, where I'm daydreaming, I'm like, wait, but this isn't my present moment. This isn't my present reality. This isn't where my physical body is. And when those justifications arise, I can be like, hey, you know what? I get it. It's a clue of consciousness. And it's okay. We don't need to drift somewhere else to feel okay. We don't need to drift to another dimension of time and space to feel enough. We don't need to go somewhere else. Right here, right now is enough. And I'm okay right here. And so recognizing it as a clue of consciousness can help, because if we don't recognize it as such, like I didn't last night, I normally do, but just one just slipped right by me, then it affects us in the continued moments to come. And so if I'm having a clue of consciousness and I just assume that everything's fine and dandy and I go about it, then that neural network is going to continue being activated. And so here I am today, like 14 hours later, and there's still some aspect of my unconsciousness that's activating a neural network of dissociation, because I had a 1-hour experience last night of daydreaming. And so the way we move through our days, where we put our focus, where we put our attention and intention, it really matters. And recognizing our clues of consciousness really matter. We cannot come into the fullness of all that we are if we're not being present with who and where we are. One of my mantras is, I am only here, it is only now, and all is well. It's been one of my powerful mantras this month. I am only here, it is only now, and all is well. I am only here, it is only now, and all is well. So daydreaming can be a clue of consciousness, and for people who experience chronic dissociation or are recovering from traumatic stress, it can be a sign of an unconscious trauma response being very covertly activated. And it could be, from one perspective, connected with the attach response or the flight response even. And that's referring to my earlier video about the spectrum of traumatic response, so feel free to check that out. So, daydreaming, clue of consciousness. be aware. It helps. I feel so spacey today, and I can tell even there's urges to go do things that are not here and now. Like I want to go lay down and daydream. I want to go leave just to be somewhere else. And those are all clues, because being here doesn't feel enough, or it doesn't feel safe, or it doesn't feel desirable, or, you know, fill in the blank. And so just continually bringing myself back to the present moment. Like, it's okay. We don't need to go anywhere else. It's okay. This moment is beautiful. It's okay. I only need to be right here. It's okay. Again and again and again. It'll help correct the neural network activation, but it takes time. It takes time. So catching it originally would take a whole lot less time, because if there's a clue of consciousness and then I choose my response in a way that's much more grounded, then I won't have to do all these hours of work to get back to a stable place of grounded neural network engagement. But if I miss the clue, then getting back there takes a lot longer than if I'd caught it earlier. So recognizing the clues of consciousness is really important. Learning what we're wanting to do, how we're feeling and all this stuff, and then where that's coming from. So recognizing the surface clues and then diving deeper into where that's stemming from within our subconscious. And that's what I help soul friends do with my consciousness consulting services. So if you're ever wanting to explore your consciousness in a deeper way, dive deeper into how you can befriend your miraculous consciousness, dive deeper into understanding your clues of consciousness, any of these sorts of explorations, do feel free to email me. It would be an honor to connect with you. You can contact me, Kristin Windsor, at artistryofexistence@gmail.com, or you can check out my website for more info. There's specifics about my story and my services and rates and reviews and all those goodies. So check out the websites and email me and let's connect. And then I also wanted to share a coping trick with you guys. So in my case study, as I discovered the neurophysiology of living with multiple inner persons, which has been quite a trip, and I can't believe I actually achieved it. How wild is that, to understand the neuroscience of multiplicity? Life be funny. So in that route, though, especially as I was recovering from amnesia, I healed myself deeply and completely from many, many years of chronic amnesia that intensified to the point where I couldn't create any new memories a couple years ago. So while healing myself from the amnesia in particular, and the dissociation and stuff, I discovered this really, 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 really powerful coping trick. And it helps you come back to the present moment. So it's like a present tense coping resource, but it also actually helps you rewire your brain. So if you use it all the time, you're actually rebuilding your brain. So it's really, really nifty. Super, super nifty. And so it's a process of narrating the sensory experience of your present moments. So the narration has to be about you. So you could say I, or you could do third person, like she, he, they. About you. It needs to be observational particulars, so nothing subjective. Like if I say she's having a good day, that's too subjective. It's not factual enough. It's not objective enough. So it needs to be about you, and it needs to be objective. And it needs to be present moment particulars regarding sensory information. So what you're seeing, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you're hearing, what you're touching, where and how you're standing, sitting, walking, moving your body. We have 7 senses. And so narrating the present moment activities of any of your 7 senses, or better yet, all of your 7 senses, can really help bring you back into the present moment. For example, if I'm here, it'd be she is standing. She feels the ground beneath her feet. She feels the sunshine on her back. She feels the wind drifting past her. She can hear the sound of her own voice as she speaks. She can feel, oh no, that's right. If I was to say that I can feel my hands moving, that wouldn't count. Gestures are not part of the 7 senses. I learned that. I remember learning that. So what we can see, hear, taste, touch, feel, or the position of bodies, so standing, sitting, but particularly what we're seeing, hearing, and feeling are going to be the strongest ones. Smelling, if there's a smell, tasting, if there's a taste, but those aren't always constant, but we're pretty consistently hearing, seeing, and feeling something. So narrating that, and it could be I, first person, or it could be third person, she, he, they. Just depends what resonates. If you're feeling really disconnected, you'll probably want to go with third person. It'll be less triggering. And then if you're, present with yourself enough, you can use I. I am standing, I feel this, I see this, I hear this, I sense this. So present moment, objective, personal narration regarding what the senses are experiencing. And so it can't be something from an hour ago. It can't be something you're going to do. It can't be something subjective. It can't be a summary. It has to be specifics, here and now, objective observations of what the senses are experiencing. And in doing this, it's a great coping trick because it will help you come into the present moment better, more deeply, more groundedly. Spaciness. And then it will help you rewire your brain. It helps grow the neural networks to reconnect your mind and body, because mind and body often become disconnected when there's dissociation or chronic traumatic response or any of that kind of stuff. And so like if there's anxieties and stuff like that, as one example, the body might be here in the present moment, but the mind's like over here racing about all this, scary stuff or whatever. And so a lot of the mental health battles that we experience can be associated with or traced back to some level of disconnect between the mind and the body. And so I was experiencing a total disconnect to the most profound of extremes. And this kind of trick, among with other stuff, of course, but it actually really helped. It helped me to come back into my body. It helped to regrow the neural network so that my mind and body could be roommates and live in the same house and not just be next door neighbors with one another. Yeah, I like that description. So describing it. So another example would be, if I was walking on the lawn, it's, I feel the ground beneath my feet. I can feel the blades of grass as, my feet move and I walk. I can feel the sunshine. I can hear the doves singing. I can, anything like that. Anything that is about you, objective, present moment narration regarding what your senses are experiencing. Okay. I think that was what I wanted to say. Life be funny. Healing is always gradual and never linear. Healing is allowed to be an up and down journey, and we continue to expand into new knowings and newness of all that we are. If you guys are looking for healing journey resources, I've got some super magical goodies for you guys. Super duper magical goodiness. My Restoring Consciousness Toolkit helps me on a daily basis, and I'm so jazzed to share it with you guys because I have firsthand experienced its power. And after journeying for so many years where there just weren't resources of ways I could just be there in the present moment, like, there just wasn't stuff to really help. It was all these like complex therapeutic tools that weren't things I could immediately use, or it was all this fluffy stuff that didn't actually work. And so I'm really stoked to present this to you guys. My Restoring Consciousness Toolkit explains, explores, and empowers human consciousness from the inside out. So not only will you understand what's happening in your consciousness beyond your awareness, but you're going to get to know your parts in new ways, your subconscious parts in brand new ways. And from this space of awareness and knowing, you actually gain all of the tools you need to start working with your parts and healing your parts and empowering your parts and connecting with your parts and liberating your parts. You have all the tools you need to start to really harness your personal power and to transform your life from the inside out by lovingly befriending the miraculous consciousness that carries you. It comes with a healing journey guide and then 4 flowcharts. So the Healing Journey Guide is a nice text that helps you dive deep into understanding things, gaining more tools, having step-by-step instructions to work with parts and claim your power and all this stuff. Things you can practice very easily on a daily basis and really start to embrace your healing journey of life in brand new, expansive ways. And then the 4 flowcharts are great because you can use them at a glance. So if you only have a couple minutes in the morning or whatever, you can't read like a 50-page text. You glance at the flowcharts and boom, you have the tools that you need to work with your parts, to connect with yourself, to understand your clues of consciousness to interpret your thoughts, feelings, and behavioral patterns or tendencies and know where they're coming from in your consciousness and why, and you know what to do about it, how to respond, how to help yourself through that experience so that you have power no matter what you're experiencing and going through. So if you're interested in my Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, you can email me anytime at artistryofexistence@gmail.com. Or again, there's more info on my web pages below, so check out those links. And then I have my Sailing Through Consciousness, Sailing Through Consciousness guided meditation collection, totaling 50 minutes. These guided meditations help you experience your consciousness in brand new ways. You really take a journey. You really take a beautiful journey into your consciousness. And the focus is on implicit language, so a very specified style of language that connects with your right brain hemisphere, which is where a lot of the subconscious activity happens, including anything associated with traumatic stress or painful memories. And so I use implicit language to really specifically connect with your subconscious and to create visualizations through your imagination for personal power reclamation. So very powerful, very fun, very blissful, very open and honest, very expansively connected. A beautiful experience. So if you're interested in my Sailing Through Consciousness guided meditation collection, you can email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com, or again, peek the links below. There's more information and there's a preview too. You can preview it and be like, do I want this? Let me check it out. Oh yeah, this is awesome, sweet. And then stay tuned. I'm almost done with a brand new book. It is so good. Like, I look at it and I'm like, how did I make this? It's so good. It's everything I've ever wanted in a healing journey book. It's called Healing into Happiness Playbook. And it's like a workbook, but with a whole lot more playing. And in it you have dozens and dozens and dozens of healing journey prompts, things that you can very easily do at home along your everyday healing journey of life. It's created to be as easy and doable as possible. But in the process, you're cultivating deeper self-love, you're expanding your personal power, you're reprogramming your nervous system, you're rewiring your brain and your memory systems, you're increasing frontal lobe engagement, increasing brain balance between brain hemispheres. Like, there's all of this really intensive healing happening, but you're kind of just having fun. You're kind of just having fun. It's so awesome. And then with it, there's actually tools to create daily practices. And so there's a bunch of worksheets you can also use if you want, so that you can pick some of your favorite play prompts or activity prompts and create daily rituals out of them, and even deepen and expand your healing from that space. So really, really beautiful, really powerful, really fun, really transformative. And it's completely original concepts. So things that I've created in my own healing journey. And I'm like, hey, if I do this, it feels good and it's fun, but it also helps me heal all this stuff that's really scary and needs to be healed. So really, really powerful, all original concepts. So stay tuned for that. It'll be announced as soon as I finish it. Just got a few more playings to do, a little more playings to do. But it's called Healing into Happiness Playbook, and that will be available soon-ish. Just got to do some more playing first. Got to go frolic with my fairies and do some more playing. So I love you guys. And again, if you're interested in my one-on-one consciousness consulting services, it would be a blessed honor to connect with you along your magical, miraculous healing journey of life. I would be honored to be a healing journey guide so that you have all the tools you need to cultivate deeper self-love, reclaim your personal power, and befriend the miraculous consciousness within your beautiful being. You deserve to live in a consciousness that feels good to experience. You deserve to have power in every moment of every day of your whole big life. You deserve to have a grounded place in the authority of your unfolding storybook of life. You deserve that. And the opportunity is here and now through the transformative power of your own loving energy. There are so many clues of consciousness, because 95% of what's happening inside of us is occurring beyond our direct and immediate awareness. And tuning into that aspect of ourselves is really important. Really important. You can check out some of my other videos for more information about that, all those goodies. I love you. I believe in you. Thank you so much for being here. What a blessed time to connect, where I'm standing here in front of a bunch of pretty flowers, in front of a laptop, and then somehow in some alternate dimension of time and space, you're sitting there at a computer inside or a phone outside or who knows, and you're watching me on a screen. Like, what? What a cool time to be alive. Life is too trippy. Like, how is this real? Life is beautiful because we are beautiful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I love you. I believe in you. And I truly believe that the best is yet to come, and that no matter what we're experiencing right now, we can always grow into the person that we truly want to be. We can always grow into the life that we truly want to experience, because experience comes from our consciousness. And when we befriend our consciousness, the whole dynamic of our existence shifts for the better. Stay well, soul friends. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being you. Namaste. The transcendent light in me sees and honors the transcendent light in you.